This is the AB4WS radio show. Every week, bringing you the exciting amateur radio news and information happening in the greater Cincinnati, Ohio, Kentucky, and Indiana areas.
The AB4WS radio show can be found on the Apple Podcast app or your favorite podcast application. And now also available on the AB4WS radio show YouTube channel. Ham TV is returning to the International Space Station Columbus module. When active, Ham TV will transmit video on 2.395 gigahertz. To watch the stream, go to live.ariss.org/hamtv. A reminder, if you're looking to do the overnight parking at the Cincinnati Ham Fest on August 9th, the deadline to reserve your spot is fast approaching. Reservations must be turned into the fairgrounds in order to activate water and electric for the site, so reserve your space today at CincinnatiHamFest.org. And don't forget the on-site breakfast starts at 7 a.m. The Bluegrass Amateur Radio Society is currently accepting donations to the American Cancer Society to be made in the name of Harry Sparks, KN4S, longtime member of the Bars Club. August 15th is the deadline for nominations for the Kentucky Amateur of the Year. Do you know a ham who is especially considerate, loyal, progressive, friendly, balanced, and patriotic? Someone who is up to date with the hobby, is patient with others, who encourages other hams and supports the community and their local club? If you do, then it's time to sit down and nominate them for the 2025 Kentucky Amateur of the Year. Put your reasons as to why you believe this individual meets those criteria and should receive this honor into an email and send it to kyamateuroftheyear@gmail.com. This award will be announced at the Greater Louisville Ham Fest on September 6th at the Parquet Springs Conference Center. The Bluegrass Amateur Radio Society is looking for nominations for the Ernie Farmer Memorial Award, which need to be submitted by August 11, 2025. They can be emailed to ke4maj@awrl.net or mailed to Bluegrass Amateur Radio Society Incorporated, Post Office Box 13206 in Lexington, Kentucky, 40583-3206. The selection committee considers involvement in public relations, operating excellence, involvement in public service, assistance to prospective or licensed amateurs, and a combination of these for the general furtherance of amateur radio. August 3rd, it's the Northern Kentucky Amateur Radio Club monthly Simplex Net on 146.580 at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, which is always held the first Sunday of the month. They invite any licensed amateur radio operator to join them by checking in. Perhaps you cannot hear the net control station at your location. Well, no problem. Just listen and eventually you'll hear a station who will be able to take your check-in and relay it into net control. The net starts out by stations who can hear net control. Then each of those stations put out calls and take check-ins from stations who can hear them. Then the next set of check-ins will be asked to put out calls and take check-ins for stations that can hear their station. After the net, you then post who you were able to hear in your net report on the nkarcgroups.io page. This is an effective way to test your equipment and to learn how you can use your equipment if something happened and the repeaters were all off the air. It is also a great training opportunity. So the first Sunday night of the month at 6 p.m., tune in to 146.580 and join in on the fun on the net. And lately, we've had some impressive band openings on 2 meters. I worked a guy in Gravel Switch, Kentucky the other day on 5.2 Simplex. And here's a pro tip. Want to hear more stations? Open that squelch up all the way. You'll be amazed by the number of additional stations you'll be able to hear with that squelch open. The Bluegrass Amateur Radio Society will be meeting on August 4th at 7 p.m. at the Red Cross Building in Lexington, Kentucky. No topic is listed. On August 4th at 7 p.m., the Amateur Radio Emergency Team in Northern Kentucky, KY6ET, will be meeting at the Bethesda Community Church, 989 East Mount Zion Road in Independence, Kentucky. And the training team will be holding a training session on crossband repeating. Crossband repeating is a technique that can be employed during public service events under emergency deployment conditions and other conditions where an individual really needs to use an HT or other radio in an area or under conditions where coverage is not optimal. And the use of another radio set up with crossband repeat function active to relay their signal at an adequate signal strength to another station or repeater. The training will involve a small presentation, a group discussion, and some hands-on practice. They'll have multiple crossband repeaters active in, on, and near the premises so you can put into action the skills that you learn. This presentation is open to everyone, so come on out, bring your dual band radio with you, and learn all about crossband repeating. August 9th is the Kentucky Parks on the Air event created to promote awareness of ham radio and the beautiful Kentucky state parks and national park system, promoting camaraderie within the ranks of Kentucky amateur radio operators, sponsored by the Murray State University Amateur Radio Club. Competing stations will operate from as many of 50 Kentucky state parks and 10 national sites as possible, making contacts from the park from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Updated rules and information is on the k4smu.com/KYPOTA website. The Brunch Bunch will be meeting on Saturday, August 9th at 1 p.m. at the Sinful Eats, located inside Stumps Lanes, 5536 Bridgetown Road in Bridgetown, Ohio, where they have chef-crafted dishes which go beyond the typical bowling alley fare. The weekend of August 16th and 17th is the International Lighthouse Lightship Weekend, where amateur radio operators set up special event stations at these historic lighthouses to work as many contacts as they can. This was first established in Scotland in 1993 and has grown immensely in popularity. So look out for those lighthouses on the air. For more information on this event, go to illw.net. On August 18th, the Northern Kentucky Amateur Radio Club will be meeting at 7 p.m. at the Bethesda Community Church, 989 East Mount Zion Road in Independence, Kentucky, where Michael, KE8PLM, will demonstrate testing spurious emissions of various personal radios. He will be using the current version of the Tiny SA Ultra and encourages everyone to bring their favorite HT to the meeting for testing. This should provide some neat information for the group on the amount of spurious emissions from different makes and models of radios. So if you're interested in how to use the Tiny SA Ultra and take these measurements or standards of many radios, come on out to the meeting and check it out. Everyone is welcome. On September 6th, the Okayan Amateur Radio Society is looking for amateur radio volunteers to man the booth at the Harvest Home Fair, one of the main Okayan fundraisers. If you can help out, contact Rocky, KE8 Delta Zulu Sierra. On September 6th, the Okayan Amateur Radio Society will once again set up at the Cincinnati Museum Center from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. for the 1940s Day. If you can volunteer to help out at this event, contact George, N3VQW. September 6th is the Ohio State Parks on the Air event, and the Okayan Amateur Radio Society is planning on participating in this event. If you're interested in it, contact Jesse, KD8OOB. The Bluegrass Amateur Radio Society will hold their annual family picnic on September the 8th at the Shiloh Park Shelter No. 2. A Parks on the Air meetup is planned for September 27th at 1 p.m. Eastern Time at the Paintsville Lake State Park, US 1270.
Repeater news.
Are you looking for the most up-to-date list of repeaters in the greater Cincinnati area? Well, I have an Excel spreadsheet where I've listed repeaters that are active in the area, separated by tabs for each band or mode, so you can easily look for just DMR repeaters or 2-meter analog repeaters and so on. The list includes 2 meters, 220, 440, 6 meters, D-Star, DMR, C4FM, P25, and some other classifications. Every time I update the file, I include the date and the file name so that you know you have the latest update. To download the file, go to the AB4WS Radio Show Facebook page and go to the file section and download the file. If you're not on Facebook, email me at ab4ws.radio@gmail.com and I can email you the latest file. If you see any errors, problems, additions, or corrections, email that information to ab4ws.radio@gmail.com.
Hamfest.
August 2nd is the Columbus Hamfest at the Elyden Shrine Center, 1801 Gateway Circle in Grove City, Ohio. For more information, go to columbushamfest.com. August 9th is the Cincinnati Hamfest, sponsored by the Milford Amateur Radio Club at the Claremont County Fairgrounds in Owensville, Ohio. This year, they will have overnight parking for campers and RVs with electric and water hookups. Go to cincinnatihamfest.org for more information. On August 9th is the Letcher County Amateur Radio Club Hamfest at the Mountain Shrine Club, 95 Maryland Drive in Whitesburg, Kentucky, from 8 a.m. to noon. They're already amassing a nice stash of door prizes from some great name brand sponsors. For more information, contact Roland Brown, AF4Y at AF4Y@REBROWN.org. August 16th is the Portsmouth Radio Club 2025 Hamfest at the New Boston Village Community Center, 3980 Rhodes Avenue in New Boston, Ohio. On August 17th is the Warren Hamfest at the Trumbull County Fairgrounds, Commercial Building, 899 Everett Cortland Hall Road, Cortland, Ohio. For more information, go to w8vtd.com/hamfest. August 30th is the Athens Trunk Fest at the Athens Masonic Lodge, 12 West Carpenter Street in Athens, Ohio. On Saturday, September 6th is the Greater Louisville Hamfest 2025 at the Parquet Springs Conference Center, 395 Parquet Springs Drive in Shepherdsville, Kentucky. This year will be free admission for anyone under 16 years of age. Also, scouts and scout leaders in uniform can get free admission as well. Exciting forums on POTA, digital networking, and the ARRL. Major prizes include a Yaesu FT891 and an MFJ 1536 tri-band pulsar antenna, as well as many others. QLF contest is back again this year, and they'll be awarding the Kentucky Amateur of the Year Award. For more information or to purchase your ticket, go to LouisvilleHamFest.com. September 7th is the Findlay, Ohio Hamfest at the Hancock County Fairgrounds, 1017 East Sandusky Street in Findlay, Ohio. On September 13th, from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. is the Richmond, Kentucky Hamfest at the Madison County Fairgrounds, 3237 Old Irwin Road in Richmond, Kentucky. September 27th is the Paintsville, Kentucky Hamfest at the Paintsville Recreation Center. October 4th is the DX Workshop Operating Specialty Convention from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Central Time in the Warren County Public Library, Bob Kirby Branch, 175 Iron Skillet Court in Bowling Green, Kentucky. Talk in on the 444.300 repeater with a PL tone of 179.9. For more information, visit wkdxa.org/events. On November 8th, the Grant Amateur Radio Club will once again hold the famous Georgetown Hamfest at the ABCAP building, 406 West Plum Street in Georgetown, Ohio. Lots of door prizes will be given away. An amateur radio exam session will be held by the Highland Amateur Radio Association. Talking on the 146.73 repeater with a PL tone of 162.2. For more information, contact Ken, KD8FKU, at KD8FKU@gmail.com.
Are you looking to upgrade your license? Do you have someone else that's interested in the hobby? Here are some upcoming exam opportunities.
The Milford Amateur Radio Club holds amateur radio testing on the third Thursday of each month at 6 p.m. at the Miami Township Civic Center, 6101 Meyer Drive in Milford, Ohio. Please pre-register at milfordhamradio.org. The Dayton Amateur Radio Association has exams frequently. For their exam schedule, email exams.w8bi@gmail.com. On August 2nd at noon, the Lake County Amateur Radio Association will host an amateur radio testing session at the Kirtland Library, 9267 Chillicothe Road in Kirtland, Ohio. They encourage walk-ins. For more information, call 440-256-0320. On August 2nd, the Silver Creek Amateur Radio Association will hold an amateur radio exam session at 10 a.m. at the Rittman City Fire Department, 25 North Street in Rittman, Ohio. Please pre-register at w8wky.org/license-exams. On August 9th at 10 a.m., the Bluegrass Amateur Radio Society will hold an amateur radio testing session at the Red Cross Building in Lexington, Kentucky. On August 14th at the Forest Amateur Radio Club will hold an amateur radio exam session at 6 p.m. at the Adams County Emergency Management Office, 31 Logan's Lane in West Union, Ohio. Please pre-register by emailing K8WEH@ARRL.net or check in on the K8GE.net website. On August 16th at 10:30 a.m., the Cuyahoga Falls Amateur Radio Club will hold an amateur radio exam session at the Cuyahoga Falls Public Library, 2025 2nd Street in Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio. Pre-registered education at cfarc.org or call 330-929-8921. On August 17th at 9 a.m., the Warren Amateur Radio Association will hold an amateur radio testing session at the Trumbull County Fairgrounds, 899 Everett Hall Road in Cortland, Ohio. Walk-ins accepted. For more information, call AB8MO at 234-238-2312. On August 18th at 5:30 p.m., the Northern Kentucky Amateur Radio Club will hold an amateur radio exam session at the Bethesda Community Church, 989 East Mount Zion Road in Independence, Kentucky. You must register by going to hamstudy.org/session/NKY-VE. On October the 9th, the DeForest Amateur Radio Club will hold an amateur radio exam session at 6 p.m. at the Adams County Emergency Management Office, 31 Logan's Lane in West Union, Ohio. Please pre-register by emailing K8WEH@K8WEH@ARRL.net or on the K8GE.net website. On October 11th at 10 a.m., the Scott County Amateur Radio Club will host an amateur radio testing session at the Georgetown Police Department, Georgetown, Kentucky. On October 25th at 10 a.m., the Wilderness Road Amateur Radio Club will host an amateur radio exam session at the American Legion, Post 46 in Danville, Kentucky. On October 28th at 6 p.m., the K4TG VE team will host an amateur radio exam session at the Anderson County Extension Building. Use the rear entrance in Lawrenceburg, Kentucky. On November the 8th at 10 a.m., the Bluegrass Amateur Radio Society will host an amateur radio exam session at the Red Cross Building in Lexington, Kentucky. On December 11th, the DeForest Amateur Radio Club will hold an amateur radio exam session at 6 p.m. at the Adams County Emergency Management Office, 31 Logan's Lane in West Union, Ohio. Please pre-register by emailing K8WEH at K8WEH at ARRL.net or on the KHGE.net website. On December 13th, the Scott County Amateur Radio Club will hold an amateur radio testing session at the Georgetown Police Department in Georgetown, Kentucky. Special thanks to this week's content contributors: WB8VNH, KY6MM, AC8MA, KY4GW, WB8YYS, KD8ZLD, K9HIO, N8LAR, K4NKU.
If you have something you think other amateur radio operators in the area would be interested in, send the information or your recorded audio file attached in an email to ab4ws.radio@gmail.com.
Covering your amateur radio news and information in the greater Cincinnati, Ohio, Kentucky, and Indiana tri-state area, this is Jack Prindle, AB4WS in Big Bone, Kentucky.